I still think they will go to cinemas because going to the movies is always like a social experience too. It's not always just about the films. You know, if they just want to watch the film, they might not always go extra to a cinema to watch it. Sometimes it's about like the technical thing because it's bigger and louder and better, and the social experience they have with it. But if it's just about the film and then they want to get entertained, they might be looking at the big screen at home. So this is kind of changing, I think.
Well, I think that I hope and I think that I believe that we will still keep going on cinemas. Because somehow in the cinema it's magical. I mean, it has nothing to do with staying at home or watching in a tablet something. Yeah, I mean, it's all the Lacan process of identification, I think, that you can achieve it in the cinema.
Of course, I hope so. I think we need to make a really big transition in the cinema to make people go. Either, you know, we have to get people to watch cinema with another, bait than just regular cinema, maybe, because they can watch all the films at home, at Netflix, on the small iPads. They can watch it on popcorn time, even though it's illegal. People do that. So I really think we need to, change our way of going to the cinema and make it more, relaxed, cheaper. I don't know, but I really hope that cinema will exist because it's the most, beautiful art expression. I think, personally.
Okay, I think they will, because I think cinema is something that is here to stay. No matter how advanced you get in technology, and no matter how smaller the screens become, and like how easier everything becomes in terms of accessibility, I think all that will never really replace what we're already witnessing on the big screen. That's like magical. So. That is something that I think every generation will crave for. Like, if it's not there, it's going to be something that will be coveted, and it's going to return again every single time that it might be like disappearing or whatever. Yeah, I think it's just exciting times in terms of technology, and everything is becoming easier for us to implement in our films and how we present them and how we develop them, but I don't see it in a negative way. I think the classic way of seeing films is really something that will be eternal.
Well, I definitely think people are still going to cinema. I don't think it will die or it will change. I'm very optimistic about that, because it's the same with any other art form. It just every time there is anything new, it doesn't mean that the old form dies. It's like the TV didn't destroy cinemas, or the film didn't destroy theater. So I mean, like, yep, I still think there's definitely going to be audiences for cinema, even though the space changes, even though you have new devices or new way to show your films or any audiovisual content. But I think that's just part of the process. I actually enjoy that, because anything that surprises me, it's in a way inspiring. And if I knew the future, that would be boring. I mean, like, I want to be surprised. I want to see what's come next. So I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I think I'm optimistic about it. I don't know. Yeah.
I think they will, because watching a film in a cinema is a really great experience. And once you get this experience while watching really good film and really getting catharsis from it, I think you really want to come back and experience it again. I think that a lot of people now really watch movies and cinema films from the different channels, and not only in cinema, but I think the experience cannot be really compared to watching film in a cinema. I think so, but maybe it will be like lower numbers, but I think it still will survive because it's just great, in my opinion.
I'd like to think yes, because that's what I would do. I would like to, it's an experience going to the cinema, to be in a room a dark room with, maybe 100 odd people, and it's an experience, and it's just not the same as sitting and watching it at home on your iPad or whatever. But I really don't know the way it's going to go, and with Netflix and everything, more people are just staying at home. But I think the cinema will always be there, and I think people will always go, because it's like, the theatre, I suppose, in a way. People go to that for the experience. You can't have actors in your living room acting out stuff, so people go see them on stage. So maybe it's the same with film. I'd like to think so anyway, yeah.
I do think that they will keep on watching film in cinemas. I think that even if the technology is changing, it's more a question of the ambience, and now in cinema you have like the screens are changing as well. It's bigger, but to me, cinema is more an experience that you have to live in a cinema, and I think that is not so much changing, because I am part of the generation that we download a lot. But at the same time, we do watch a lot of film in cinemas. So it doesn't, collide. It's really something that can really get along together, to me. Cinema is something you have to experience, and you can go with your friends, and you have the feeling that you want to go watch it on a big screen, and then you can share it afterwards. No, I think it's gonna stay.
Well, in my opinion, the movie is, in the future, the movie will be the same like in the past, because some years ago I have seen the Rosebud from Orson Welles, and that's a really, really fresh movie now and in the future as well. So, in my opinion, the cinema isn't dying. Like lots of people saying the cinema is dying because of the 3D and these visual techniques, which can completely change the art movies situation. I hope it's not really true, because the cinema has a totally different atmosphere, like than if you watching your movie on your computer. You can't really talking about the people. You can't listen to laughing when they have a reaction to the city, so to the movie. So in my opinion, that's the biggest value of the movie and the cinema.
Yes, I think it depends on how you define traditional cinema. I believe that young people will still watch films in group, but I hope that it's going to be connected to some kind of more social event where you can actually socialize as well afterwards or before the film. So, for example, I hope that these cinemas would be connected to some kind of cafe or bar or restaurant, a social event where you, after the film, can go and enjoy your time with your friends. So I strongly believe there still will be cinemas, but of course there will be even more ways to watch films. But yes, to that question.
Of course, like the new ways of not only financing and distributing is always like a matter of now, of the time we are in right now, and I don't see where it's heading. I'm not quite sure. They're trying out a lot of things, and then it went down. And I financed it with a fund and myself, so I didn't use crowdfunding. I didn't use like new ways. It's like very traditional financing, but we didn't need a lot of money. I think that's another way of young filmmaking too. You don't need a lot of money to make your movies, or you shouldn't need a lot of money to make your movies.
Well, my film Washingtonia actually was financed by the Greek Film Center, but we only got 5,000 euros, which is really a very small amount. And the way we worked was it was something like an independent film, working with friends and having a street casting. And this is the way we worked on the film. Now, about selling it on online platforms, yes, maybe in the future, yes, I will. I mean, yes. Firstly, I'm interested about selling it in channel and broadcasting channels and having the circle in the festivals, and then yes, I will think of it for the online platforms.
There was a lot of films that got financed by crowdfunding. I don't like crowdfunding so much, maybe, because it feels like begging for money. But that's what you do with sponsors as well. But that's, it's a different feel of it. I don't know. But personally, we in my film, we made a short film, info commercial, to finance the big film. So yeah, we got a lot of finance from that little thing. So I kind of like that way of financing a film, making a little film to supporting a bigger film.
In terms of distribution, we have in Belgium Delton Distribution. They compile all these films, all these short films in a selection and distribute it through film festivals. So that's kind of arranged already. In terms of how I finance it, I tried crowdfunding. It did get me something of the budget, but not quite as much as I had hoped. So that wasn't really a success, but that's why I used the treatment. I made a treatment for the film before I made the screenplay, and the screenplay comes from a series of illustrations that I made. So it was very visually stimulating for people who wanted to get to know the project. And that proved really helpful in terms of finding investors. Because of the visual stimulation that they got and they knew what to expect from me, they were more inclined to be positive about it and to really grab onto the project and seize that moment. So in that way, I found my way of selling my films to these people is by implementing another discipline that I'm passionate about, and that's drawing. And I combine drawing with filmmaking, and that's how I get to make the short film that just got selected for Carlo Vivari.
Well, I think the model of crowdfunding can work for some, but I don't think it's going to be like the standard to finance movies. It's just every time it's very different. It depends so much on the project you have, on the power of the content. If you can attract enough people to crowdfund you, I don't think it's going to be a standard, at least. And I never used that crowdfunding to finance my movies, because I'm still at film school. So part of the money and the equipment goes from film school or from rentals that are actually have a contract with the school, so you can get it cheaper. But also, every time we're trying to find the best way to finance that particular movie. I mean, we had this is a historical piece. I made just a historical movie. So we have used lots of exteriors. So we were maybe we could try to apply for a fund, at the regional fund, that usually supports these cultural events, and maybe we could apply as a movie that will keep the tradition alive and the landscape of the region alive. And they usually don't support movies, but this time they did, because we were just so we were trying to find a way to that would be the best for this movie. So I think it's every time you're looking for the best way to for that particular movie. I don't think there's no.
Well, it's a very interesting question, because my film is a regular assignment from school, and we have a lot of assignments in my school every semester. and so the budget is very limited. My film cost like 150 euros, and we had to shoot it in this budget, and we somehow had to do decisions on what we can focus and what we can do, and we shot it. And I think that after some time, after the film is done with festivals, I'll make it online. I'll make it free online, so that also other people who don't go as much to festivals could see it. So that's my strategy for my film I have here.
Well, it was my grad film from college, and unfortunately the college don't give us money in the National Film School in Dublin, so I had to raise the money myself. It was a tiny budget, it was only $4,000 compared to some of the other guys who were working with budgets of $60,000. I've never seen that amount of money for a film, so I scraped by with the $4,000, and we raised that on Indiegogo, the online crowdfunding campaign, and yeah, we got our $4,000 and we made the film. We got equipment from the college, some anyway, and we rented other bits. The crew worked for free because it was a college project, and that's how it works. We paid some of the actors and all that, so we really did well on our $4,000. In terms of getting the film out there, it's just been doing the year festival sort of circuit. It's just coming around to a year now because I finished it last May. I graduated in November, so the film's done a year. So maybe after another year, I'm gonna put it up online, and it will just go straight to Vimeo. Then maybe I'll give it to some TV station to screen the odd time. I don't know, but I'm finished with it now anyway. I've moved on to something else. So.
Well, we don't discuss that at school. In my school, we don't discuss VOD or stuff like this. Unfortunately, I think we should definitely start thinking about that, because that's an important change. We do speak about that with my friends or producers. And how did I produced my movies? Well, I found producers outside the school, and I applied. For in Switzerland, you have to apply for the culture as money that you can apply to, and you have to make like files and try to have the money and but you need to have producers. So I went and find some producer outside the school. It's a co-production between like so to say, a business world or reality world and the school. It's a link.
In Hungary, 5 years ago, there was a big change between the Hungarian Film Foundation and the younger filmmakers didn't really see that how can they get money for the movies, and how they will have a budget for the movies. But now the Hungarian Film Foundation got a really good idea that they open a project just for the younger filmmakers. That's a kind of low budget project, and in my opinion, for me, that's the best in the beginning of my career. I didn't really believe that if I try to get the budget from crowdfunding or something like that, it's possible. But this project is a really good idea in my opinion. I can't imagine that I make a movie and after that I didn't show it to the people in the cinema. So the first time I'm sure that the public have to see it in the cinema, in the art cinemas and the other place like this one. But after that, if this process is finished, we should upload it to the internet because we get the money from the Hungarian Film Foundation, and the Hungarian people have to see the movie, but is made by the money what they giving to these movies. So I believe both in these ways, like cinema and online media.
I mean, the financing is always feels like it's always a struggle to get it together. Of course, it's great to be creative in the ways you finance, and I believe it's a lot of different and new ways to finance the films. This film is, I would say that it's pretty traditionally financed. We got some money from the school since it's a graduation film, and then I also applied for regional fundings and so to get the extra money that we needed. But it is also a student film, so it's not that huge budget. Yeah, but I mean, I personally don't have that much experience of crowdfunding yet, but I think that it's an interesting thing and definitely going to see more of that. I think it's a democratic way that people can contribute to the films they appreciate and want to watch.